Hello, beloved humans. Today is day 9 of my spontaneous YouTube videos, and I am going to talk about the feminine mysteries. And I want to start in dropping into our bodies and feel how we feel. How do you feel in this moment? What is present in your body? What is present in your heart? What is present in your mental movements? And I just want to invite you to fully drop into presence as much as possible with me in this moment and rooting into your body. Today is for me quite a vulnerable day. So it also is a vulnerable video for me to record. And I can feel really the turbulence within myself, but also really mirrored of our times, of our planet. And that all of us are in some form, being worked, birthing in this deep unknown, deep intense space. And yet, we are here to somehow keep it up, to keep it functioning, to have some form of security in whatever strategy we have. And I can sort of observe it in myself, like this daily little rituals that we have, that we do, that we can somehow orient. But if I'm really fully authentic and honest, I feel very deep intensity today in my heart, in my body. My stomach somehow feels tense, and there are things that I feel like there's being worked through. I had a restless night also. I had a lot of wild dreams about past relationships and my brother, and really the inner landscapes right now feel very worked, or also in this birthing process. And my husband just came home, and I just asked him, can you just hold me? And he said, yes, of course. And he just held me. And he asked, did something happen? And I'm like, no, not on the, concrete outside, but I just feel there's this deep, birthing inside, really it's this stretching. Now I know from giving birth to my daughter almost 2 years ago, how this feels, like this opening, and what I feel right now is really this opening, this birthing on the heart level, and really it's almost there are places touched and moved in a way that have never been before. And I know that is for so many of us, this is happening in the times that we're living in, because we go through these profound global initiations, and we, depending on what kind of, where you are in your reality and in your consciousness and your network, you can really co-process that or not, and then it becomes more challenging. So I am in this, I want to share that this is a big part of the feminine mysteries. Mysteries, initiation pathways, they're always revealing, no matter in which tradition, which culture, which place it is. They have different designs, but it is a deep process with different layers that has movements of now I know, and then again it goes into the unknown. And I feel the feminine mysteries, they are even much more in the underground and in the unknown, and they have not, I feel like in the masculine mysteries there's more of this, this hard work, and then there's breakthroughs, and then there's thunders, and then of course this can still happen also for for us women, but it's more like this deep processes that keep on spiraling and circling, and where sometimes it feels like really, just there's no movement forward, or there's no breakthrough. I know this is the beauty, but it's also often very challenging. And I want to speak about this today, and also honoring my own state where I am today, like really in this vulnerability, and actually not very much in the words, explaining, but I gave my commitment, so I'm here also with that vulnerability, and trying to integrate this also for this space that I have said, like, okay, I'm gonna share. But I feel like actually it's much more about, moving, feeling, sensing, sounding, like really in birth. I experienced this very deeply when I gave birth to my daughter. I didn't want to speak. I really was like, leave me all alone. I just want to, I go into a different space. And I feel that feminine in this wisdom of like really like this, where there's not many words, but there really is a breath, sound, movement, sensation. Intuition, instinct, inspiration that goes slow, but suddenly then also maybe there is a revealing, maybe there is a different movement than expected. And I feel that we have so little spaces for that, so little culture for that. There's so much, direct, linear, goal-oriented, success. Like, this is what I need to reach, this is the goal, this is where I need to go, this is how it needs to look. But the feminine mysteries, which also is so, part of the masculine, of men, it's like really this, it's like this slow ripening, and then maybe comes a shiver through, or a roar, or a deep sigh, or an exhale, or an inhale, or I need to change position so that I can feel. It's much more, like really down to earth and subtle, but powerful in that also. And because of the collective forgetting about these cultures and the beauty of it, like also tears and sweat and like laughter and blood and poop, like really the sacredness of all of it. And this, this is in birth, but ultimately it's also in love making. I feel there's so much performative, and this is how, this is what is erotic, this is what is sexy. But what we lose is really the depth of, the intimate wisdom and gnosis that actually wants to happen through the body. And our feminine bodies are so utterly designed for exactly this. So I invite you to rest a moment with me in this silence, unspectacular, culture of just being present and just sensing and just breathing together. probably many say, like, you can't do this on YouTube. This is not, this is not how it works. And probably that's true. But then again, it's like a mirror of like, what if we deeply sensing beings cannot truly express what's going on in this world? And when we cannot be in this authentic rawness and sensitivity, also in public spaces, when there's not an understanding, when there's not an appreciation, of course we are in the situation that we are planetary, globally, everywhere, like these lost connections in this depth of what it means to be human. Because it starts all here in the sensing and the being, the listening and the permission. So I feel today a lot of grief, a lot of sadness, a lot of confusion, overwhelm. And there's no part inside of me that wants to get it, oh, it needs to go away. No, because I know this is part also of truly being alive, truly being a woman, truly being human. I feel like this opening on the heart level. I just feel so much global pain. I feel so much global pain, so much confusion, so much numbing everywhere. And in that sense, I'm just here to call us all together back into being here, to be feeling it without putting an ideology on it, and without, okay, putting a story, but just here we are, just birthing, all of us in some form, all of us in some form. Can we stay in that unknown presence, that intensity, without story, without control, without goal? Open towards what life wants to move through us, really being like landscape. I was just thinking, maybe this is like really too much for YouTube, because it's gonna put me, label me as crazy. And this has been such a deep journey for so many women on this planet, when they actually go into this deep state of just truly being present with what is and expressing, and that they are labeled to be hysteric, crazy, they lost their mind. And so many other men also who have sensitivity are so easily put into that box of, yeah, you're just crazy. But really, truly, in a crazy world where there's so much going on and it's going so fast, and we don't know what, that there is this momentum of interdimensional collapse that we don't know where we're gonna land, how are our lives gonna change, and we know they're changing already, and it's going so much faster with, we have the AI, we have the environmental movements, we have the social injustice that are really also gaining momentum in all the different places. We have the whole quest of economy and and its impact. So there's so many movements at the same time, psychological confusion and lack of community and lack of connection and lack of health, like on that level. So this video today is an invitation to come back again to the feminine mysteries for each of us, as a principle of the mother that knows how to birth life, not only on the physical but also on the emotional and the spiritual. And that we can that we know we are designed to handle these deep unknown spaces and these deep intense spaces. And that then truly, if we listen to, like, this is what I need, this is now what I need, and really know that our bodies are here to guide us. And if we ourselves take us serious and really, that as a priority to really listen. And if we together learn, that we are in these deep birthing processes. This is for me the doorway, through the crack, that we can alchemize what we need to alchemize. And the feminine dance, in its awakening, in its becoming, it goes in these spirals, and it helps that we have rituals where we consciously come together and go through these different cycles and death portals, which every moon is in a way a becoming and a death. So there's a really deeply part of our gnosis, and so we can use these different phases and these different realities really in a ritualistic way. But ultimately what I feel like is much more important for us women, and to really honor the feminine mysteries, is like to be in that everyday tending and this everyday attuning, this consistent rhythm. What is the one thing that I can today, or in this moment, or in this hour, to be in this deep, consistent practice and prayer to the divine. And yes, I can still go, and I've done it all. I went to the monastery for a couple of months. I went to dark retreats, to vipassana, to shamanic initiations, temples, all that has its place. But it's actually where I feel what the feminine mysteries truly are about, is about, like, how do I shape, how do I live, how do I alchemize, how do I tend my daily garden, my life as a garden of coherence with myself, with my body, with my beloveds, with my work, with my movements in the world. And it's much less, glamorous and graceful and put together as many, as there are many ideals put as women, especially also a lot of white women. And for me, this is also something that I want to break down. Like, really, this is not it. This is not where our true power comes through. It's really in the much more real and messy, and because I don't know any woman that actually is in her power, that has her things, together, as the capitalist and neoliberalism is telling us a story. And I really also don't want to participate in that culture, because it's for me, I see it really as very harmful. And I really want to bring spaces where we can collapse, actually, where we can consciously collapse, but also where we can just be, and also where we can let wonders happen. Because in the collapsing, because anyway, what do we really know about life? What do we really know about life in this reality that we are in? We don't, and we don't control it. So if we really dare to collapse and to be a mess and to be imperfect and formless, that's actually a space of deep, deep wonder, of deep, deep creation. And so for me, it really is to create, even here in this channel, like a space where we can lean into that. If you're listening to this, if you are wherever you are, can you just sing together with me into permission? It's okay to be who you are, to feel what you feel. You are lovable no matter how big of a mess you are. Mastery is not form. Mastery is a continuity in devotion and practice, in the smallest and the biggest form. And I am a beginner, and this is also I hopefully I'm gonna remember that I'm always gonna be a beginner, because the vastness and the sacredness and the wonder that this life is so immense. And I would love that, we have more connections where that is present in every moment, where we slow down and slow down even more, and slow down even a bit more, so that we actually can be here, and that we actually can feel, and that we actually can respond to the immensity, what it means to be here, a human on planet Earth. Where we don't identify so much with our form of who we are. Yes, our stories matter, but what is much more important is that we become channels for a bigger story, where life can pulse through and can be united, can be experienced as a one interconnected being in all its diverse expressions, in all its multitude and all its realness. This is for me at the core of the feminine mysteries in a not a conceptual form, but actually in an embodied form, an embodied reality. If we can see each other as that, all as a walking, sensing, alive universe in this human form that is like a mirror mandala to all other life forms. Where we can tap into that joy of this deeper joy, not like this, yeah. I have also parts of that, and but I'm speaking more about this deep joy of like, yes, I have no clue what's exactly happening, but I'm here. I'm here and I'm present and I feel, and I'm here with an open heart, with a sensing heart, with a living body. This is for me, like when I'm a mother, when I'm a woman, towards my families, towards my friends, towards my work, towards the world. This is the starting point where I feel like here I actually become a woman, and here I actually tap into the power of the feminine mysteries. And very often that does not, respond to the logics and the systems that are dominant in our world. It's really, in that sense, a very challenging path, because there's so little coherence to this narratives and to the structures, the infrastructures. I deeply feel the call to create places where this is welcome, where this is cultivated in its deep felt noses, how important that is for us humans. And not only on an individual level, but really as a collective level of community. It's interesting because I come from dance. Started as a kid with ballet, and then I did, going through African jazz, modern, contemporary improvisation, contact improvisation, body mind centering, etc., etc., etc. And a big part of my dance journey was into going into Buto, a Japanese movement art, where we work with slowing down. And it's very interesting today. I feel like, in also giving myself the permission to actually slow down and speak less, still speaking. It reminds me of how much this place in Buto dance feels like home, because this is, an art form where the complexity and paradox and the beauty of life and death and all its emotions and all its expressions is cultivated in this slow motion practice. Very often nature, very often in deep intimacy in some form, or with the people, or with land, or with one's own stories or ancestral stories. And for many years I have failed, to really, in many ways, I could not reach the people into what I experienced. Like truly, some people would like the art form, but I felt like there was a very little that in my family and friends, but also in a broader society where I could share that. And so my last years, they have been deeply also into community building and to a lot of other things that I started to work with and inquire, because I felt the necessity to share so much of these spaces, of this sacred immensity and absurdness of life. And it's beautiful that now that I'm talking about that, that I remember that access and that truth, that feeling of home, being home, but also the loneliness in it, and how I spiraled, and this is also part of the feminine mysteries, like spiraled in different forms, and now I'm here speaking about these spaces because I knew that I don't want to just dance on stages, but that I actually crave this kind of intimacy and human connections, and that has brought me even here in this, this channel. So this is a big part of my feminine mystery, revealing and seeing its spiral dance. And maybe, who knows, it's very possible I actually felt that this morning. Maybe at a certain point, once I feel like I've said what I needed to say through words and like also other forms, maybe at a certain point I just gonna go back into silence and just dance in this beautiful art form of Buto, this deep shamanic alchemical dance. The nice thing is with Buddha dance, because there is not this ideal of how the body needs to perform and look like. It's like there is no expiry date. You can dance Buddha when you're 99, because it's a whole different set of principles of how Buddha dance works. And so for me, it's deeply connected to the feminine mysteries and how we, as humans, need spaces of that. Cosmic inquiry on a whole body, mind, spirit synthesis. I have been almost for 5 years now, no, actually more than 5 years, 5.5 years, I have started this matriarchal spiral of 1001 days. And I've started it completely alone in my own life in 2020, and then met the last spiral. In the middle of it, I invited 2 sisters, Simon and Bibi, and tomorrow we start a 3rd one, which is gonna be, where we invite more women but also more humans to participate slowly, like really in a birthing process. So I had, actually yesterday I went to the beach to really listen to, because it's one spiral of 1001 days, is almost 3 years. So it is quite a big arc of life that has been lived. And like for me, as an art form of the feminine mysteries, like to have really like this pulse of 1 day, 10 days, 100 days, and then 1,000 days, like as a homeopathic fractal intelligence to really metamorphose deeper into who I and we are. And I'm just gonna touch quickly now. I'm gonna talk deeper about it tomorrow, like really as honoring this new cycle. And it really is for me an art form of the feminine mysteries, because it exactly spirals. It is the dance of life in everyday life, and in this inward and outward, in myself, but also in connection with other and in connection with the world. So if you are interested to hear more about it, check out my video tomorrow about Māa'ru, it's the name. And for me, it's just like a beautiful reminder of my 2 cycles that I have gone through. And I can just say that in my own artistic, real life experience, so much has changed. Like in the first spiral, it spiraled me out of Switzerland. I really felt like I cannot live long term anymore in Switzerland. Because the ways of living are just too narrow that I can fully birth what I'm here to birth. It took me, some detours and some feminine spiraling and birthing, but that was actually really the true beginning of, okay, this is coming to conclusion. And in the second spiral, I became a mother. Like, it was literally the day 0 of the second spiral that I experienced the conception of my daughter. So it was really this big shift in Brazil. That was in Brazil. And now here we are, tomorrow is another day 0, and I'm very curious to see what this next spiral will bring. And I can feel the depth and the gravity of this work, and of this art, and of the joy also of it, to really, it's like almost to be an everyday dancer in this deep cosmical pulses. So I just felt like concluding this video with this information, because it really feels very sacred. I was dancing yesterday on the beach, and I was feeling into the circle of this second cycle and the beginning of this third cycle. So if you feel that you somehow want to be part of this, you can let me know, you can comment, you can also always ask questions, because this is really about real interactions and real feelings and experiences and curiosities, even in this form, and for me, I don't know how long I'm gonna be on these platforms anymore. I know that I have still to somehow release something out into it and see where it reaches the people that it needs to reach, so that the people can find it who needs to find it. But I'm really focusing more and more on the down-to-earth reality. So if you feel like that there is a resonance, that there is a pulse, then let me know, and come also to Brazil, visit us. Or be part of Māa'ru, or then be part of Singularity Political Party, because that is also, these are the 3 fields that I'm focusing my life force. Next, of course, to my family and friends and work, also in one-on-one containers. So this is it from my side for today. Maybe just to finish, let's just be in sensing stillness, and to bring it back to you, like to your mystery, to your dance, to your reality, to your birthing heart, and to just encourage you and to hold you in that depth, in this form that is very limited, but just as a seed of, we are in this birthing together, all of us, in a very unique expression, in a very unique revealing, our hearts, our bodies, our inspiration, our intuition, our instincts. They show us the path in these wild times that we are living in, of the great turning. Sending you all so much courage, tenderness, and so much love.